Hey guys, it's that time again. Been a while since I've been in front of a camera, just had a lot of stuff going on, but I have not forgotten that it is time to do WWE in 2006. A lot of stuff happened this year. I'm just going to go through the calendar year in which the pay-per-views that I saw in that year, starting with New Year's Revolution, the Royal Rumble, No Way Out, WrestleMania 22, Backlash, Judgment Day, Vengeance, the Great American Bash, SummerSlam, Unforgiven, No Mercy, Cyber Sunday, Survivor Series, and Armageddon. That's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13 pay-per-views. 13. Not counting One Night Stand or December to Dismember. They were not active on the WWE calendar year, which means they were not they weren't necessarily considered part of the year 2006 on the WWE Network, which is what my reference point is. I might go back and do them later on. I do know that One Night Stand was the pay-per-view in which Mr. Money in the Bank, Mr. Monday Night himself, Rob Van Dam, cashed in on John Cena, which was really awesome. So, a lot of stuff happened this year. Going to some of the memorable moments. Edge cashes in his previous Money in the Bank at New Year's Revolution on John Cena. Great timing. Really kind of really kind of cemented the kind of person he was becoming. He was becoming an opportunist, a strategist, and let's be honest, Edge is Edge. Like, it's not Edge as a heel, Edge as a face. No, it is Edge, and I love him for that. The guy is money. He's money. The guy is money. He's money. The dude prints money where he goes. Oh, there's a match between Edge going to come back, and he's going to wrestle Adam Rose. Money. I'd pay to see that. Although I don't think I'd have to because it'd probably be on Raw. But anyway, Mysterio wins the Rumble, spent an hour in the Rumble match, had a really good, fresh Rumble match, and it was believable that a guy like him could win. I don't want it to come off and sound like that's rude. It's not that I dislike the guy in any way. I'm just going to scooch over just a tad. There we go. It's not that I dislike the guy in any way. It's just, it's clear his character is somewhat of a gimmick, but he's entertaining, he's good for the kids, and he's got some decent matches, and I love the guy in WCW. The guy was a beast in WCW. The Money in the Bank match at WrestleMania 22 was classic. RVD wins the whole thing, and then the following month they put him in a match against Shelton Benjamin in a Money Takes All match, putting the Money in the Bank briefcase with the Intercontinental title. The winner of the match gets both. And RVD wins that one in probably one of the best matches of the year. Benoit and Finlay mix it up in a couple really good feuds. Finlay not getting a lot of respect. I don't know what the reason is for that. I kind of got like an Irish feel from him. Obviously, an Irish version of William Regal, rather. And William Regal, I mean, he's awesome. Like, he's purely old school in a good way, you know. There are some people from the 90s and even the 80s that you'd have to pay me to watch because they're so boring. Andre the Giant. Sorry, what? Deal with it. DX comes together. I like this version more than the other one. Heresy, I know. You don't know Eric, the original DX. I wasn't a fan of that kind. It was very lewd. It was very perverse, and I'm really not a fan of that direction. And some people will argue that was the reason that the WWE won the Monday Night Wars. I think there's a little more to it than that. But anyway, it was just Triple H and Shawn Michaels just being goofy together at their older age. King Booker wins King of the Ring and then wins World Heavyweight title, and him as a character I love because he was such a big believable heel, and you could tell in these matches he was just having fun being a jerk. The thing with Booker T is I've been a fan of him in WCW, was a fan when he came over into 2001. I've been a fan of the guy for quite some time. I felt like he wasn't really given his just due after he dropped the WCW title to The Rock in the early 2000s. it wasn't until around this time, 2005, 2006, where he really started like building back up. I know he had a good tag team run between 2002 and 2005, but you know, it really didn't go anywhere. And you know, I really think Booker T really came into his own. But yeah, really happy about that. This year had the best Survivor Series team I had seen so far, as opposed to 2001 Survivor Series. That one was just stacked. You have classic feuds with DX against the McMahons, which culminated with DX taking on Rated RKO, Edge, and Randy Orton. Guys, there is a lot to go over here, so I'm not going to waste any more time. It's time to do this. I debated on it last time. It's going to do now. It is time. It is hammer time. Hammering out top 15. Stupid joke. Throwing a hammer. Just broke something. Anyway, don't care. We're getting into top 15 matches of 2006. Really quick, this is my list. It's not your list. It's not their list. It's not his, her list. My list. If you agree with it, great. It will probably end up changing depending on what mood I'm in, because that really depends on how I've been doing this sometimes. But been really giving myself a shot to like really open up and enjoy wrestling, because there's a lot of stuff on TV now that's very questionable. Why is there a grown man in a buddy costume? Anyway, moving on to happier times. I guess they're not really in any huge order. I mean, once you get down the list, it kind of feels a little bit more complete. But I'm just gonna go right into it. Matt Hardy versus Gregory Helms at Judgment Day. That would be number 15. I love how they repackaged Gregory Helms. Loved it. They ditched the Hurricane gimmick. They had him do his own thing. They turned him heel. And he was really allowed to really like let loose. I mean, as I enjoyed him as the Hurricane. Don't get me wrong. But the longer they went with it, the cheesier it got, and you could tell the gimmick was running old when he had his tag team partner, and just like whatever. But Matt Hardy and Gregory Helms, right here, key match. These guys worked so well together. They have an in-ring chemistry together. I'm kind of curious as to why they're having Matt Hardy feud with him for the Cruiserweight title. More on the Cruiserweight title maybe on the next video, because it does fade into obscurity into 2007. Number 14, DX versus Rated RKO at Cyber Sunday. That was an amazing match. What can I say? 4 people in the ring who just know what they're doing. You have the legends versus the new guys who are coming up. It was awesome, although I don't necessarily think it counts with Edge because he'd been around for a little while, but you know what I mean. But still, awesome, good, classic match. One of the better tag team matches of this year. Randy Orton versus Kurt Angle at Vengeance. I was very sad that this was the year that Kurt Angle had to leave the WWE. I've been a huge fan of Kurt Angle. I've been a huge fan of him from day one. And this, to me, was almost like a proverbial passing the torch on to Randy Orton without deliberately having to do it, like with The Rock and John Cena. But they had a really classic match. Angle is a suplexing machine. He is crisp and smooth in the ring, and it makes sense to almost have him in the ring with Randy Orton, because Randy Orton's pretty much the same way. A lot of people might argue now that he's getting kind of boring and stale. The guy can't talk into a microphone now, I mean, but back then, I mean, the kid was golden. He was just coming up into his own very slowly. Number 12. Eminem versus Paul London and Brian Kendrick at Judgment Day. This was the match that sold me on Paul London and Brian Kendrick. The best tag team of the year, hands down. These guys, I think combined, are between 350 and 400 pounds. Actually, no, I think they're closer to around 350. These are not big guys whatsoever. These are small cruiserweights, and they're running around the ring hanging with the best of them. They work well. They have a chemistry together that is unparalleled to some. I almost say it's on par with teams now like the Young Bucks or the Wolves or anything like that. But that's another time. These guys are incredible in the ring, and And Nitro and Mercury, they're good in the ring too. They're a very believable heel team. But this was the match where Leonard and Kendrick won the titles, and they had a great run with them. I think they held on to them for at least 8 months. Number 11, Chris Benoit versus Chavo Guerrero at Survivor Series. And they also had another match at Armageddon. I'm putting them both on the list because they're both good in their own ways. I'm glad they decided to run with Chavo more this year. He's a very good, very underrated talent. Obviously, Benoit was a beast. And having these two in the ring together felt very reminiscent of WCW. What can I say? Those guys are magic in the ring. And that's the glorious thing about these two guys, that they can work well with anybody. Number 10, DX versus the McMahons and the Big Show at Unforgiven in a Hell in a Cell match. This one was just a barbaric 30-plus minute beat-em-up match. I'll be honest, the main reason I was bought into this was because it was, the odds are stacked against DX, Shane and Vince and Big Show. All in all, it was a really, 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 really well done match. A lot more to be desired, but it's difficult to move people around the ring like the Big Show, especially in a Hell in a Cell match, as well as Vince McMahon in the Hell in a Cell. I mean, there's a lot of different variants here that held it back from being a little higher, but it was still a very good match. Number 9, Mr. Kennedy versus The Undertaker in a last ride match at Armageddon. Mr. Kennedy is also one of these underrated guys that have not gotten their due. When I was younger and my brother's friends would talk about this guy, I thought they were joking. He sounded like a clown. And then I saw him in the ring. And then I saw his gimmick. I'm like, the guy carries himself with such confidence and swag in the ring, and he's such a believable person, and his skills in the ring are also very crisp and good. He's not one of those smaller heels that's not afraid to really kind of let loose into someone. And my biggest issue with heels is that I hate it when they spend the majority of the match just doing holds on people. That drives me crazy. It's like, don't be afraid to get relentless. That's why I loved Brock Lesnar. Loved him. But those two had a very good chemistry together. And the thing is, for someone as new as Kennedy to come in and be able to work with The Undertaker the way that he did, and they're throwing each other off scaffolding and hitting each other with lead pipes and tossing each other into windows, it was crazy. It was a crazy match. I recommend watching this one. This is probably the better match. They had a few other matches. This was the match above the rest. Number 8. Mickie James versus Trish Stratus at WrestleMania 22. The best two divas in that locker room this year had an amazing match at WrestleMania 22. Amazing. That crowd was on fire for Mickie James. That was her moment. It had been building up for those two to fight each other at WrestleMania. I think they went about 2/3 into. They had their match 2/3 into the way at WrestleMania, which is a huge honor. They tore the house down. Those two really had, when most female wrestlers, it's difficult to say they have good chemistry in the ring. A lot of it's just due to the fact that nowadays they just don't have a lot of opportunity and chance to really perform and show what they can do. Back then, the Divas division was on fire. It slowly started to unravel in the coming years, but it's not nearly as bad as it is now. But these two had an incredible match with each other. They weren't afraid to hold back. It was awesome. I recommend if you're particularly into female wrestling, I recommend this one. This was the female match of the year. Turn my list over. A lot of stuff going on. Number 7, the 4 tag team ladder match at WrestleMania 22. Again, just some of the best tag team match. One of the better tag team matches of that year. I'm trying to remember if that was the one. No, I don't think that was the one. But anyway, I think that was probably one of the best, I think we'll say top 2 tag team matches of that year. I'm sorry if it seems like I don't really have much to say on it. I'm trying to reminisce on it. Words can't put it in to describe. I'm just going to put mark on it for now and go back and rewatch it because it's kind of escaping me right now. But if I put it on there, obviously I had some idea what I'm talking about. So go back and watch it again. Number 6, the Elimination Chamber match at New Year's Revolution. I've been a fan of the Chamber back then. I'm not as much of a fan of it now. It doesn't feel like it has the same glory that it could be. I'm also, again, I'm going to bring up, I'm not a fan of pay-per-views being named after the match. Money in the Bank, Hell in a Cell, Elimination Chamber. Royal Rumble is the only exception. That's because it was the third match that was brought into a yearly basis, next to WrestleMania being number 1 and Survivor Series being number 2. This one was good for the main reason that it had a stacked roster. John Cena, it had, yes, I said John Cena. Without him, you don't have this match. Carlito, Chris Masters, Shawn Michaels, just to name a few. I mean, it was an incredible match. And then, of course, the icing on the cake, they lift up the Chamber, Edge cashes in Money in the Bank, and he is your new WWE Champion, finally ending the age of Cena. Alas, it would only last about a month, and then Cena would win it back because, God forbid we have Edge a champion. The Royal Rumble itself at number 5. Like I said, very fresh Royal Rumble. Very good, very fluent. Little over an hour long. I think it was an hour, between an hour and 5 and an hour and 10 minutes long, which is a pretty good duration. Rey Mysterio goes over. He gets his WrestleMania moment. That match is not on the list because he was in that match with Kurt Angle and Randy Orton. And no offense to those guys, but match not nearly what it could have been. Still a really good match. Number 4, the winner-take-all match between RVD and Shelton Benjamin at Backlash. Guys, this is about... this was probably the best showman match. When I say showman, I'm in my definition, it is these two naturally gifted wrestlers are in the ring showing us why they're good at what they're doing and why they're considered to be the best people in that business. Technical, powerful, very fluent in their moves, very smooth, very crisp, good timing, good athleticism. They both get amazing air, had an incredible match. I recommend that was RVD's best match of the year, and Shelton Benjamin. No, I can't give Shelton Benjamin enough credit. The guy is a monster. He's not what he was in the coming years compared to what he is now, but I recommend that one highly. Team DX versus Team RKO at Survivor Series, guys. The best Survivor Series team, in my opinion, at this point. You have Shawn Michaels, you have Triple H, you have Matt and Jeff Hardy, and you have CM Punk, and they win in a clean sweep. Win on that one. It was marvelous. These two I was switching back and forth on, and a lot of you are probably like, oh my gosh, you're copying other people's lists. No, I'm not. I'm simply going on what matches I enjoyed the most. If you like it for the technical aspect, that's great. I have my own list, and again, these could change at any minute. Like Matt Hardy and Gregory Helms could end up getting number 1 and go back and watch it again. Number 2, Edge and Mick Foley having their hardcore match at WrestleMania 22. WrestleMania 22, I'm just gonna say right now, was probably the best pay-per-view out of the year. I think another good one would probably be Armageddon, and I'll even go with saying Survivor Series. I say those 3. The last 2 matches of 2006 plus WrestleMania earlier that year, top 3 pay-per-views of that year. But Edge and Mick Foley, this was the match that put that. When I first heard about it, I had very low expectations. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, well, Mick's probably going to carry this as far as he can go, and then it'll probably just be a really slow finish. Those two went to the races and then some on this match. They were not afraid to let into each other. Edge let out his hardcore side, which I'd seen him do before, but I don't think I'd seen him go to this level before. I mean, he's going toe-to-toe with Mick with, like, the weapons and the moves, and then the coup de grace, obviously, was the spear through the ropes onto the flaming table. Edge wins and basically elevates his game to a whole other level. Guys, amazing match. But I will say the number one match of this year will in fact be the Money in the Bank match at WrestleMania 22. Rob Van Dam, Shelton Benjamin. Oh my gosh, just anything involving those two guys was awesome. A few of the other names are escaping me right now. I think Matt Hardy was also in there as well. But anyway, guys, top 15 again. No, a lot of them aren't really in any order except for like the final 5 or so. And again, personal preference. If you agree, great. If not, let me know. To each their own. But 2006, on a whole, not quite as good as 2005. I was really expecting like this to be like the one that beats 2005, but I can't. I mean, at this point, 2005 had better matches. It had a little bit better of a feel going to it. 2006, a lot of pay-per-views felt rushed and didn't really feel all that good. But so I ranked 2005. I believe I ranked a 9 out of 10 as a whole. 2006, I'll give it an 8.2 out of 10. The only thing holding it back was there were a lot of real questionable matches. There was a lot of the WWE title going back and forth all year long. Edge not really getting a chance to like shine. What else? I wasn't a fan of a lot of the Ric Flair matches that year. I felt like in 2005 they did them way better justice. So, and I don't believe we really didn't get anything from Batista this year. I know there was an injury angle, or no, I'm sorry, not an injury angle. The guy was legit injured. But anyway, I feel like I'm rambling on. So 2006 in a whole, an amazing year, really really good. I'm actually doing really well into my 108 challenge. I'm actually in about halfway into 2009. 2007 video I will have out much sooner than I had in between the first 2 videos. Like I said, this is like a 7 or 8 part project. So this will be part 2. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been having a good time doing this. Let me know what you think. Next video should be coming in the next week or so. But until then, you guys stay classy. I'm going to keep this Christmas a-rockin', and I will see you all next time.